Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about a process called UCAS Extra, which actually opens tomorrow on the 25th of February. So I'm going to be explaining first of all who's eligible for this, and then secondly how it all works and how you can apply if this option is available to you. Before I properly get started, I just want to make a couple of general points. So the first one is that this option is completely free, providing that you've submitted an application through UCAS for this application cycle this year. If you are eligible for UCAS Extra, then it is a completely free option available to you. And the second thing that I just want to say, as I actually mentioned a minute ago, this process opens on the 25th of February and it runs until the 4th of July. And beyond the 4th of July, this won't be available anymore and you'll have to go through clearing instead. And I'm not going to talk too much about clearing today because obviously that doesn't open for a few months yet, and I will make a video about that closer to the time. But that is the kind of general time frame for UCAS Extra. Okay, so the easiest way to work out if you're actually eligible for UCAS Extra is to go onto Track and log into your account and go onto the Your Choices tab, and somewhere there should be an option to say add an extra choice, and this will only be available to you if you're eligible for UCAS Extra. So if that link is there and you can press on it, then that means that you're eligible, and if it doesn't show up, it probably means that you're not. However, I'm going to go into more detail now into who is actually eligible, and if any of the situations I describe in a second are relatable to you and you think that you should be eligible but that option is not showing up on your track options, then you need to get in touch with UCAS and explain your situation to them and they will be able to help you. UCAS Extra is basically available to anyone that used all 5 of their original choices in their UCAS application but is not holding any offers. So this applies to 3 different situations. The first one being that all 5 of your applications were originally unsuccessful. The second is that you've decided to decline all of the offers that you've received, and the third is that you decided to cancel any ongoing applications that hadn't yet received a decision. So if any of those 3 apply to you, or a combination of all 3 of them, then you should be eligible for UCAS Extra, and I'm going to explain in a second how that works. Another thing I just want to mention is that if you applied with less than 5 choices to begin with, so say you only used up 3 of your 5 choices available to you, and you now want to add more, you can do that through UCAS Track without having to go through Extra. You can just add an extra choice and for no extra cost, unless you only applied to 1 choice originally and you only paid the £20 application fee. If you then want to go on to add more choices, you have to pay the extra £6 that you would have had to pay had you submitted more than 1 choice to begin with. So hopefully that clears up things a little bit. So if you've not used all your 5 choices, then you can apply through UCAS Track for an extra choice without having to go into Extra. But if you've used all 5 and you're not holding any offers, then keep watching and I'm going to explain how that works. I also just want to mention, if you are doing that and just adding an extra choice through Track and not using Extra, then you can do that up until the 30th of June, and beyond that point you'll have to go through clearing. And secondly, if you are applying through UCAS Extra, you have up until the 4th of July to use the service, and again beyond that point, if you're not holding any offers, then you will also have to go through clearing. The final thing I just want to mention about Extra before I go on to explain how it all works is that you do not have to be eligible for it as soon as it opens on the 25th of February. The option will become available to you if and when you become eligible for the process up until the 4th of July. So for example, if you're currently still waiting for decisions and say it gets to mid-April and at that point you decide you want to decline all the offers you've received and you want to apply for a completely different course, at that point, once you decline those offers, the option of UCAS Extra will then become available to you in April, and you can use that up until July to apply for a new course. So UCAS Extra is actually kind of complicated to explain. I quite quickly realised that when I was researching it for this video, but I will try and explain it in the briefest and most accessible way so that hopefully what I'm saying makes sense. So the first thing you need to do is go to a section of the UCAS website called the UCAS search tool, and this is effectively where you can look for any courses across all the unis that are registered with UCAS, and it will show you all the courses available to you. So you need to obviously type in the subject that you're looking to study, and you should also filter it by an option that says show courses with vacancies, and this will only then show you courses that are still accepting applications for the rest of this year. So once you come across a course that you think you're interested in applying for, you then need to get in contact with that university department. So either on the UCAS search tool page somewhere there will be an option for contact details so that you can get in contact with the university, and if you can't see that, then just follow the link to the university's own webpage and there will definitely be contact details somewhere on there so that you can either email or call that department and ask them any questions that you've got, and also just to clarify that they definitely do take extra applications, because if they don't accept applications through UCAS Extra, then there's no point putting an application into them. And the second thing that I just want to say, if you are applying for a completely different course to what your original application was for, obviously your personal statement in track is going to be no longer relevant, but unfortunately there's no way that you can change this, so you need to check with the university if they will accept an additional personal statement, because if they do, that will obviously strengthen your application much more, because you've then got a personal statement that's actually relevant to the new course that you've decided to apply for. So when you get in contact with the university, either over email or calling them, you need to also ask them if they'll take an additional personal statement, and if they say yes, then once you've applied for this course through UCAS Extra, you then email that relevant uni department with an attachment of your new personal statement, and I would send this off with your full name, the course you've applied for, and also your UCAS personal ID, which is the number you log into track with, and this will just make it a lot easier for that university department to filter through what that personal statement is actually relevant to, and hopefully that will make your application that much stronger because you've now got a relevant personal statement. Okay, so once you have confirmed with the university that they are happy to take your application through UCAS Extra, and again, if it's relevant to you, that they're also happy for you to apply to a completely different course to your original application, then you then go back to UCAS Track and you can actually then apply through UCAS Extra. So as I mentioned earlier on, you go to the Your Choices tab where there should be an option to add an extra choice, and if you press on that, you then just put in the details of the uni and course that you want to apply to and send it off, and that then goes straight to UCAS, who will then forward it on to that university for them then to consider your application and get back to you hopefully as soon as possible with a decision. Okay, so this is where I think it gets kind of complicated, but I'm going to try and explain it in the best way that I can. So the first situation is that your application is successful and the university gives you an offer. So if you want to accept this offer, you can then go into UCAS Track and there will be a specified date by which you have to respond to that offer, and if you don't respond within that time frame, your offer is automatically removed and unfortunately you've lost out and you'll have to apply again to a different choice through UCAS Extra. So if you are wanting to accept it, you definitely need to make sure that you do it by that time frame. However, if you want to decline this offer, or your application is unsuccessful and you don't get offered a place, or alternatively, if the university hasn't responded to you within 21 days, if any of those three options apply, you can then add a new choice through UCAS Extra. So you can remove that original choice that you put in and add a different course or perhaps a different university that you now want to apply for. And you can keep doing that as many times as you want until you get an offer that you want to accept, or until it closes on the 4th of July. And if you've still got no offers at that point, then you have to go through clearing. So this 21 days thing is basically depending on you and your patience and how keen you are to get an offer from a specific course. So for example, if you have waited 21 days and you think, time's running out, I don't have the time to wait any longer, I'd feel much safer just applying to a new course, you can do that. After 21 days, the add an extra choice option becomes available to you again, and as soon as you send off a new choice, your original application to your first choice will automatically be declined, and you can then just start the whole process again with a new university and hope that they get back to you faster. Or on the opposite side, if it's been over 21 days but you still want to wait to see what the outcome of the application is, then that is fine. You don't have to remove it after 21 days, sorry. You can just keep waiting, but the option is just there for you if you feel like time isn't really on your side. Right, I feel like I threw a lot of information at you guys within the last couple minutes, and I think it is quite complicated. So I'm going to try and just break a couple of those points down in a bit more detail just now. So the first thing that I want to say is that if you accept an offer through UCAS Extra, once you do that, you will no longer be eligible for UCAS Extra for the rest of the year. And this means that if later down the line you decide that that offer you accepted isn't one that you want anymore, you don't have the option of Extra anymore, you just have to wait to go through clearing when that opens in July. So if you're accepting an offer, obviously you have to do it within a specific time frame, but you need to make sure that you definitely want to take that before you make that decision, because there is no going back and you don't have Extra to fall back on if you accept that decision. Secondly, with accepting a decision in Extra, this automatically becomes your firm university choice, and because you can only submit one application at a time, you don't ever get the option to have an insurance choice in Extra. You can only have a firm choice, and that will be the only active university on your application for the rest of the year. Okay, and then the second thing that I just want to break down a little bit, and I did just briefly mention it just now, is that you can only submit one choice at a time. So whereas with your initial application you could choose 5 course choices to begin with Extra you can only submit one at a time. So for example, if I wanted to apply for maths at the University of Aberdeen, I could submit that choice to Extra, and I would then have to wait for that decision to come back and either decline it or it be unsuccessful before I could submit a new choice for a new university. So hopefully that makes sense now that it's been put in context a little bit, but effectively you can put in one choice at any one time, but you can use it as many times as you want until you get an offer that you're willing to accept, or until it closes on the 4th of July. And I hope that that makes a little bit more sense. I know it is really, really complicated, so if what I'm saying is getting a bit confusing, I have left a couple links in the description that hopefully will explain it a bit more, and it might be a bit easier to read it instead of hear someone talking about it. Okay, so that actually brings me to the end of this video. I really, really hope that this has been helpful for some of you. I know it is really complicated, so I'm sorry if it was a little bit hard to get your head around at points. I'm not sure if it's just me that finds it complicated. Maybe some of you are watching this and thinking, actually, this is really simple. Why is she saying it's so complicated? But when I was researching it, I just felt like there were quite a lot of different pathways that you could go down, and trying to explain it out loud, sometimes it does get a little bit confusing. So I really, really hope that this has made sense and that it has been helpful. Please let me know in the comments if this is something that you're planning on doing and if it has been helpful to you. And finally, you know the drill by now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a massive thumbs up. And if you want to see more content about applying to university, sixth form, and gap year, academia, that general kind of theme, then don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time with a brand new video. Bye!